So welcome to our final winter webinar 2021. And this one is on chapter points to increase chapter engagement, implementing a point system. So many of you, if not all, have been on some previous winter webinars this January, last couple of weeks, and I've had PowerPoints to share information, but this one I do not. Because I just wanted it to be a discussion and share some resources. And there were a couple of folks who were going to join. I don't see them so far who are using currently have some pretty successful point systems that they have in place. Is there anybody here of our 5 chapters represented? Is anybody currently implementing one? Or you're here because you're looking for ideas? A little. Okay, so you have a little bit of one, Esmeralda, and you'd like some more ideas. Great. Okay, good. Okay, so that's good. So now what we won't have are peers to share their experiences, but I did get some emails and some resources from them. So this might be brief because our session today could be pretty brief. So I could just share the resources. We'll talk a little bit about it. Let me just see what Christina has heard about it. Okay, good. Yeah, good. And I know that, yeah, it did come up at the conference. Yeah, maintaining it. That's a good point. If you're monitoring chat, that's a good point too to see how you can maintain it. We'll talk about that too. And I was hoping for some of the chapters who I know have pretty successful ones. So if we don't get to that, we can talk it through and see if there's ideas out there. But if we don't really get great solutions talked about, that I'll still hit them up to ask them to chime in, and I can share that information after the fact. So certainly, I mean, you're here and interested in the topic, so I don't really have to talk a whole lot about why it's a good idea, but I do think it's a good idea if you're looking for ways to engage membership and keep officers maybe more accountable or them engaged as well. From what we've heard from the chapters who are doing it, it is pretty successful. I think some have said that the change from not having it to offering it was pretty dramatic. So it just, they were just much more engaged. We know, so why is that? Incentives are a big part of this, and we know that incentives work. If it's a gift card or an honor cord or other swag or merchandise from our store, a cup, something, and you'll see for some of them that they have grades of levels. So if you get 5 to 11 points, you get a cup, and then 12 to 20 points, you might get a cup and then a cup and. So you can sort of build, like you're at the county fair, collecting tickets. You redeem them in for the plastic ball and stuffed animal. So you sort of work your way up. So again, fairly informal here, hoping for a conversation. How about if I just share some of your peer programs and what they're doing as a place to begin chatting about it. What I'll do is I will screen share and pull them up, and then I can attach. I have some, I think one is a graphic, 2 Word documents and 2 PDF documents that I believe I can attach here in chat, and you could just download them right now, right away. So let's talk about Northern Arizona University. They have a current invitation up. We're not here from Northern Arizona. No one's here. So let me, and the reason because the other thing is, and I can speak for Tricia, I think, we don't always know who has them and who doesn't. unless we're made aware of it or they tell us, or unless it's in the invitation or mentioned in the MHS invitation that goes out, or we just see it on social media and stuff, but there's maybe some we don't even know about. So it's not any information we're collecting, but it just so happened that Northern Arizona posted their invitation and it was mentioned in the welcome email. So this is their MHS invitation. I just copied and pasted it. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not their invitation, it's the welcome message. So as you know, you have your invitation in MHS. If you don't use MHS, Christine, I think I was going to talk to you about adapting it. But you know that, there's an invitation, and then only for students who accept that invitation, they receive this welcome message that would say, mark your calendars, the ceremony's March 19th. Make sure you get involved in ALD. Don't forget about our benefits, the leadership and career development, and ALD perks, etc. So I just happened to notice in her welcome message that she said there are other benefits, but some of these benefits are only for active chapter members, meaning some things that they would get. Because we never want to say, by the way, let me just stop here for a second. We always warn about point systems and incentives for chapter engagement. We don't want to ever say that if they don't do these things, they're not a member. And sometimes we have to just be careful about the language because I think some chapters were saying you're not an active member if you don't come to every other meeting. You have to come to 5 meetings or you're not a member. So Alpha Lambda Delta membership is for life. And if they paid that fee and joined, then they are a member, even if you never see them again. Be careful with the language. And so they're saying in order to be an active chapter member and to receive certain things that you need to earn these points. So just be careful about that and be more clear. Yeah, so Esmeralda, I'm going to share this whole document, and there's more to it, and I'm going to attach it in chat in a minute, so you'll have it, and you can copy and paste it and tweak it to your own if you want to use something like this. So I went digging and found, I actually asked her, Wendy, the advisor, I see in your welcome email you talk about this, can you send me more? So what I'll send you is this, and so she said, here's what she could share. So they do a 15-point system, coming to meetings, if they email questions or post on Instagram, they volunteer for things, if they voted in the election, participated in Relay for Life, that sort of thing. Here's the key question we'll talk about is, especially for bigger chapters, it's one thing to offer the points, but how do you manage it? How do you track it? And that can be a big job. So I think it runs the gamut. But I've seen a couple times that people, that chapters are talking about using Google Docs has been a pretty handy way to do it. So the secretary, and you could create a position or use a position that doesn't have a lot to do in your officers, on your officers board, and have them track it for every event, mark down who was there. So you can see that they're better consideration for scholarships. They do use the grad packs from our store, or a gift like a mug. And then, yeah, so somebody gets a frame with the most points received at graduation. So that is what Northern Arizona University shared. And let me go back. Let me stop sharing for a second and let me just practice with this to make sure that I can share it. Sharing within this program is a little, within Zoom, it's a little tricky. Okay, hang on, let me try it again. Okay, so what I call that was NAU. Hope and share the right thing. Okay, so does that work for everybody? Does everybody see that in chat? That's a Word document you can download. So that's exactly what I just showed you. So you can grab that, and please feel free. This is not proprietary information that all these chapters are willing to share. And so tweak it to your chapter's needs, and I'm sure that will be fine. Lisa, you're not seeing it. So if it's not working, I think, Lisa, I think you joined after you, no, you joined before I sent it. I can email it to you, Lisa, and I will thank Northern Arizona. Okay, so let me take a look at UConn. So University of Connecticut does, and so here's an example of University of Connecticut is a very large chapter. They're one of our largest, as in 800, 900 members every spring, like almost 1,000. So they're quite large. And so they somehow manage it. Quite frankly, not really 100% sure how can they do that. But I'll share this document in a minute. This will be a PDF document. So again, they can earn points throughout the year. They have prizes. And it begins with the induction. That's a nice sort of way to frame it, is starting with our induction ceremony and ending with the next induction ceremony. So I don't know how many chapters invite already inducted members to the following induction ceremony, but it's a nice thing to do if they're not already coming or if they don't even know about it. But it's nice to have your membership there in the audience for the next class of, an incoming group of inductees. So that's how they do points. So social media seems to be a really popular activity to earn points for, and that, instead of relying on just your social media chair, as if you can get your membership to be posting things and tagging your chapter, that's going to be more visibility, and it will help enforce it being an active chapter. So again, attending meetings, attending events, even just applying for Alpha Lambda Delta scholarships, writing an article gets you even more points. They're calling it an ALD newsletter. I think they mean the Flame magazine. I'm not sure.
No, it's they have a chapter newsletter.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's their own. Sorry, yeah, right, of course. So they have their own newsletter. Volunteering, again, points. You can see the grading of points are higher and higher for more of a commitment. And then they get, Visa gift cards. Seems like a lot of gift cards. I think, so Bob Fisk, who is our student member at large on our national council, is the one that organizes this. And he said, I think they're going to do away with the gift cards. I don't know if they maybe can't anymore. I think they're going to start to switch over to more gear from the store. It looks like the exec board receives honor cords. And that, I'm sure they can't apply for local scholarships because they're probably the ones deciding. And again, I know that Bob mentioned that they use Google Docs, a Google document that tracks all the points for the members. So I think it's probably easy. You already have your membership in an Excel document, and you just check them in as they show up. So it's apparently, I'm going to try the PDF. It's apparently, this is not necessarily working for you.
I got it.
It's not, do you see them, but you can't download them or open them?
I opened the first one. I don't see the second one as an
option.
option.
I didn't do the second one yet.
I didn't have a problem with the first one.
So there's UConn as a PDF that worked for Christine. So it says, it's also on their website. Thank you, Trish. So Trish just sent a link on the website. I'll just for sure, Trish, if you could just jot down all those present today.
Absolutely.
So I don't lose track. Hi, Kiana. And I'll just email all the documents too. All right. Let me see if this is going to work. Yeah. Okay. This is just a graphic, so I don't know if it would really help to share it or to email it to you. At Kent State has a point system, and you could, what I'll do too with the email, I'm sure they won't mind, is I'm going to email you all the connections, the contact folks that I know who have point systems, and I would encourage you to reach out if you want to sort of really talk in depth about how they track it or whatever, which things they've found successful and not so much. I just encourage you to reach right out to them in person and see. So I know Kent State does something. I just thought I'd share this because I saw it on Instagram. I don't really have a lot of detail about their point system, but I know that they are really encouraging and in fact doing a contest for social media. And if they post, anyone who posts something gets a point. So I thought I'd share that one. And then the last thing I wanted to share is actually not ALD at all. It's just something I found online, and it had to do with honor chords. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So this is not an ALD chapter, but somebody out there put together a whole thing about tracking points for getting an honor chord. So an honor chord is a common, prize or thing you get if you reach the level, whatever your level of points are. So I'm going to share this with you too. Again, it's a lot of the same things we're seeing: volunteering for events or service projects, coming to meetings, holding an officer position gets you more points. There's obviously some other things that are generic. And what I think is implied here in this example is actually an honor system that I think this was the one where it's just sort of kept on, like you just record your own, like I came to this event and I'm going to record it. So I'm not sure how successful that is. I mean, if it's a huge chapter and it's hard to really track, or you can't get a volunteer to help track that, it could be an honor system where they just report how many activities they attended, but that's another way to try it. So again, it's not working to share this. Let me try. I'm gonna try that one.
I think it is for some people and then not for others, I think.
Okay. That's the sample PDF. Okay. The last thing, and I'm going to put some links in the chat. So the last thing that I just at least wanted to throw out there as an idea was a way to track. And so I would suggest that if it's not like too sort of overwhelming, and maybe your students would know more about this in terms of the technology of it, but especially if they're involved in other student orgs on campus, or maybe you're advisor to multiple organizations, but I would check with your campus student organization, meaning, so does your student activities office use a third party or any sort of software where they're tracking student organizations? So those are becoming more and more common, again, especially for large schools, but maybe even smaller schools. Managing registered student organizations on a college campus is a lot of work. I used to do it at several campuses, including Sonoma State and Buffalo. And so these companies have popped up. Campus Labs, OrgSync, something called Campus Groups. But OrgSync is the big one. Does anybody know about OrgSync? Maybe some? So I would.
Yeah.
Some.
Yeah, we have campus labs, but
Okay.
I'm familiar with all of them.
Okay. So there may be some ways that those companies have, I think I've seen hints of this, that those companies, because they're all really based in technology, they're helping universities manage their registered student organizations. And so there's entering a lot of data going on, a lot of data entry going on. And they may have ways that help organizations track events, track attendance at events and things. So that was a first thing. Let me see if I can just share this. So these are just links. So everybody should be able to see these because they're not documents. But I'm just going to share a couple resources I found. And OrgSync Campus Labs and Engage, E-N-G-A-G-E, Engage, are all the same thing. They're all the same company. They're the same umbrella company. They might be called different things. I think a lot of buyouts were going on, companies buying each other. And so they're sort of hanging on to some of the old names. But as far as I understand it, these are the same company. So I would just, it's just, again, might just depend on the size of the organization, the chapter, but there could be some resources out there already existing on your campus that can really help with this, help with the tracking piece, because I think that tends to be the sticking point for some. That's the work. That's where the work comes in. I mean, ordering 27 honor chords from our store doesn't take you very much time, but probably putting together points, and it doesn't matter if it's 1,000 points or 10 points. It just, whatever you want to work with, 2 points for this or 100 points for coming, as long as it all adds up to something. It's the tracking that I think is the challenge here, and not impossible, and plenty are doing it. But I want to try and offer as many resources as possible. And then, so the other company that is doing it, I think so. Did someone say in the chat, Campus Groups? Yeah, Joy, thanks. So Campus Groups is another company that your student activity. I'm not suggesting you start investing in software to help with this. All I'm saying is your student activities offices might already be engaged with some sort of company that's helping them organize student orgs, and there might be a way to have them. There might be something already existing. And so the last idea I have, and others I'm hoping can chime in if you have ideas, but so we've got Google Groups or Google Docs, Google Sheets can help a chapter track activities. There's maybe these software companies that have something. The other thing, and this is something I recall from Buffalo State, so I don't know if Tricia or Lisa remember this, but and I don't know if it's still being used, but pretty much most college students have an ID, student ID. And it's often there, and it's literally a card, and that might be going by the wayside someday. I don't know, with everything going online and on phones and stuff. I don't know if there's physical cards anymore, but I think there still are. They get their picture taken at orientation, and they get a student ID. And that ID has evolved. Back in the day, it used to just be a student ID with their name on it. Maybe it got them into the library, but now it does everything. There's all sorts of money on those IDs. It's getting them into all the cafeterias on campus. They're swiping it to make photocopies at the library and to check out books. I mean, it's becoming a commerce card, not just an ID anymore. And so what I recall at Buffalo State is it's also, you can use it to track attendance at events. So that's how, I know at Buffalo State where I was, there was just a little machine, a little, almost like a credit card machine that anybody could get if they were organizing a big event on campus, and everybody through the door would swipe their ID. So that was tracking attendance. That's how colleges count how many are at the event, but it can also track it that Jane Smith was there, and then you download a list, and these were all the ALD members that attended XYZ event. So it's not too, if some of your campuses might have these little machines you can, that they'll lend out for an event, and that everyone who attends just swipes, and then it's just done, your attendance is done. Yeah, and so, right, so if cards are gonna someday be obsolete, it's all gonna be on the phone. They're gonna just have a QR code or, something, they're just gonna scan and boom, it's gonna tell you that they were at the event. So, they do laundry, right? Do laundry with their IDs. Yeah, I mean, so those are, and then they lose that card and they're out of luck, which my daughter did on the regular. She lost that card and her keys to her room all the time. But anyway, so those are the resources I have so far. What are some issues? Any more conversation around tracking? Any other ideas people have? Anything you've seen chapters do or fellow student organizations that track? Yeah.
I just threw a link in the chat to Western Michigan. They have a point system. They switched to, I think it's called Caspio or something, to track, but it's really, in my opinion, kind of cumbersome and involved. Like, they have one officer that just deals with tracking. So I don't recommend that tracking piece per se, but their point system is pretty detailed and outlined on their website.
Great. Good. Yeah, they were on my list of folks I asked for information. But I think with the break and stuff, yeah, so that's a great, yeah, and you can see from that link, they're pretty organized. Who is the other? Let me check real quick on the other chapters that I knew did point systems. I don't know if I still have it. Yeah, I don't have it anymore. I deleted it. So what else is this helpful? Anything else that would help?
I will say, I do see a lot of, because I monitor pretty much all the social media accounts from the different chapters, and I do see a lot, you get 1 point for this and, 2 points for that. Attend this meeting and you get 5 points. It can be as simple or as complicated as you make it. Like, when I looked at UConn's real quick, it seemed really complicated, right? Adding up to 30 points. But some chapters I know have, like, if you get 5 points over your, course or time as a student, you get an honor cord in that. That could be 1 point for a meeting, 1 point for a social post. So it's pretty easy to get up to 5 points. It doesn't have to be super detailed.
And especially if you're just starting out with something, I would strongly suggest something really simple, just to, pilot it, test something, just to do, 5 things, a point each, 5 points gets you this, that's it. Just to sort of, to see even, we're making the assumption, and I think a pretty safe assumption, that it does lead to more engagement. But I don't have scientific proof of that, other than anecdotal from our chapters telling us that yes, it has. So I'm going to take their word for it. But you might find something that is not working, and maybe a point system wouldn't work for you, or maybe you need to tweak it. But at least try something that's not too much effort. The chapters I reached out to before, in prep for this webinar, because I knew they had pretty good systems, was Western Michigan, University of Connecticut, and Montclair State University, Montclair in New Jersey. So I would suggest, and Trish, can you pull up our chapter list and throw a link in there, that we list all of our chapters with all chapter advisors and their emails. And so Anthony Helms at Western Michigan, I would say our student rep at our student on the council, Robert Fisk for UConn, and Geronimo for Montclair. Those are the 3 that I know have pretty good ones. And then, well, and NAU, which Northern Arizona, which I talked about. And I didn't get more information on Montclair, and I didn't get to their website. I don't know if Trish is good at finding those real quick. So I don't know if Montclair has anything on their website, but yeah. And again, borrow all ideas, make them your own, and I'd love to hear about it. To let Trish and I know how it's going, or certainly if you need help with anything, developing it along the way. But I'd love to hear that it worked great, or it didn't, and we're tweaking it, or whatever news you can share. Okay, so what else? Any other issues you wanted to talk about while we're here, related to points or anything else? Good, I'm glad. And I still will email all those documents that I shared. The Western Michigan wasn't an actual document I could download of anything helpful. There's just a website.
There is on the website on the left-hand side, there's a PDF download that might be helpful.
I'll grab that too and include it in case you're having trouble with downloads. Yeah, it's a point sheet. Yeah, I mean, that's I think what I'm seeing from Western Michigan is that it is self-monitored, but someone else just signs off on it. So that's another thing, is rather than you or a secretary or something tracking, if everyone has their own sheet of paper and they're there at the event, at the end of the event, the advisor, or it looks like I don't know who signs it, but somebody just sort of signs off on it. Yes, you were here. Boom. I'm sorry, Sue, you had a.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So did anybody comment what to do if like an officer is tracking this and that officer leaves? What, was there any comments about continuing this?
Right. So I think that's another reason to sort of make sure that it's something that can pass from one to another. So that probably why Google Sheets has been a popular method, is someone else could step in and take it over if somebody leaves, or that at least allows continuity. So I don't know, and maybe some of these things are just a year based, like this is like that one, it's the induction for your induction to the next induction. That's it. That's the point system. Rather than tracking it year to year. I don't know that many do that. I think they just take the year, which is typically an officer's term. And then the next year they sort of start all over.
Some of them are cumulative though. The ones that say, over your term here, you need to meet 5 points or.
Yep. Right. Yep.
Eileen,
yeah.
We, for our chapter, we have a Canvas work site that we use. I'm wondering if Gradebook in Canvas would be another way, because members could then also see where they are in the process, or how many points they have, maybe.
Right.
I don't know, something to play with.
Absolutely. And I just saw in Western Michigan, there was a link that said, are you curious how many points you have? There was some way that you could check that, it looked like. Right, Trish? But that was Caspia, did you say?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how their whole system works.
Yeah. Esmeralda, I agree with you. I think I'll definitely get Bob from UConn to send me a link to their Google sheet, because that would be useful to know. And that's sort of, yeah. So I'll ask him and I'll send a link to that. Although it's ringing a bell that somebody sent me something. Hang on, that is, okay, sorry. I did get one where I stuck it in a folder. I'm sorry. So glad you mentioned this, because I totally forgot about it. That somebody sent me their Google Sheet. So let me, but you do need permission. So what I think I'll do is download it and send it. And that was Montclair. So Montclair did get back to me. I just didn't put it in my folder. So this is from Montclair. I don't know if you can see it very much, very well. They do have a reward system, incentives to get involved. This is their, they do a face mask, a mug, long sleeve shirt, honor cord, medallion, and stole. And members keep track of their own points. And if they believe they've acquired enough, they email the president. The president verifies their submissions and has a prize ready. But it sounds like they must track it. And so they do use a Google form that won't let me open. I know that she gave me permission, so I will figure that out, and I'll download. I'm sure it's an Excel sheet, I'm sure it's a spreadsheet as you suggest, and I'll attach that when I send you all the resources. So that is Montclair. Yeah. So, and Vicki, I would definitely suggest that, like, again, not just the student org stuff, but any software that your campus is already using, there might be a little tool in there that could help track for students and sort of have it done for you. Okay, I think that's, okay, I'll follow up with an email soon as I figure out this Google Doc situation. I'll send you what I have, and good luck putting point systems together. I hope it's successful for you. I hope this was useful. Keep us posted on how it goes. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.